Hi, I'm Papa Joe. Thank you very much for joining me for reading today. If I were being shipped off to a desert island and I could only bring two children's books with me, the two I would bring would be Knots on a Counting Rope and Olivia Town. And these are the next two books that we're going to be reading. Knots on a Counting Rope is by Bill Martin and John Archambault and is illustrated by Ted Rand. And it's a beautiful story about a young boy, and his grandfather. And it opens with them sitting around a campfire out in the American West. "Tell me the story again, grandfather. Tell me who I am." "I have told you the story many times, boy. You know the story by heart." "But it sounds so much better when you tell it, grandfather." "Then listen carefully. This may be the last telling." "No, no, grandfather. There will never be a last time. Promise me that. Promise me." "I can promise you nothing, boy, but I love you, and that is better than a promise." "And I love you, grandfather. But tell me the story again, please." "Once there was a boy child." "No, grandfather. Start at the very beginning. Start where the storm was crying my name." "You know the story, boy. You tell it." "No, grandfather, no. Start, it was a dark night." "Yes, it was a very dark night, a strange night. Your mother and father and I were safe in the hogan." "And the sheep were safe in their pen, weren't they?" "When a wild storm came out of the mountains." "And it was crying. The storm was crying, 'Boy, boy.'" "And your mother said, 'I think it is in the wounded wind. A boy child will be born tonight.'" "What happened then, grandfather?" "I rode up the canyon fast to bring the grandmother. It is not a good sign for a child to be born without a grandmother's blessing." "Was the wind still calling for me, grandfather?" "Oh, yes, boy. It was whipping up sand as sharp as claws and crying like a bobcat, 'Boy! Boy!'" "Were you afraid, grandfather?" "I was much afraid." "How much afraid?" "Heart-pounding afraid, boy. Heart-pounding afraid." "Then what happened, grandfather? Just as I was born. Tell me that part." "It was strange. It was a strange night. Just as you came forth and made your first cry, the wind stopped howling, and the storm was over, and the night became as quiet as soft falling snow. The grandmother took you up in her arms and said, 'He will walk in beauty, this boy, to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south. He will walk in beauty forever.' And I was born strong, wasn't I, grandfather?" "No, no, you were not strong. You were sick and frail. We thought you would die." "But I didn't die, did I? Tell me about that part, grandfather." "All night you lay silent, with your eyes closed and your breath too shallow and too weak for crying. And you carried me out to see the morning, grandfather, but I did not open my eyes. Tell me that part." "Two great blue horses came galloping by." "And they stopped, grandfather, and they stopped and looked at me." "And you raised your arm to the great blue horses, and I said, 'See how the horses speak to him? Are they his brothers from beyond the dark mountains? The boy child will not die.' Is that what you said, isn't it, grandfather?" "Yes, boy, that is what I said. The boy child will not die. The great blue horses have given him the strength to live." There are the beautiful blue horses that gave the boy the strength to live. "And that is when you named me, isn't it, grandfather?" "After you smiled your first smile, we had the naming ceremony. All of the grandmothers and the grandfathers were there." "And you named me Blue Boy, Strength of Blue Horses." "It is a strong name." "Did I need a strong name, grandfather?" "All children need a strong name. to help them grow strong. And I grew strong, didn't I? Yes, boy, strength of blue horses, and each day you are growing stronger still. You are learning to cross the dark mountains. I have already crossed some of the dark mountains. Oh, there will be more, boy. There will be more dark mountains as they are always around us. They have no beginnings and they have no endings, but we know that they are there, grandfather, when we suddenly feel afraid. Yes, boy, afraid to do what we have to do. Will I always have to live in the dark? Yes, boy, you were born with a dark curtain in front of your eyes. But there are many ways to see, aren't there, grandfather? Yes, boy, you are learning to see through your darkness because you have the strength of the horses. I see the horses with my hands, grandfather, but I cannot see blue. What is blue? You know morning, boy. Yes, I can feel morning. Morning throws off the blanket of night. And you know sunrise. Yes, I hear sunrise in the song of the birds. And you know sky, boy. Yes, sky touches my face, soft like a lamb's wool, and I breathe its softness. Blue is all these things. Blue is the feeling of a spring day beginning. Try to see it, boy. Blue? Blue? Blue is in the morning, the sunrise, the sky, in the song of the birds. Oh, I think I see it. Blue. Blue. Blue is happiness, grandfather. I feel it in my heart. There was a sweep of blue in the rainbow on that morning that your horse was born, boy. Oh, tell me that part, grandfather. I could not see the rainbow, but I can still feel its happiness. I awakened you, boy, during the night, just remember, just before the foal was born. And you said to me, come, boy, Circles is ready to foal, and this colt will be yours. It was a long night of cold rain, and we put a blanket over Circles, grandfather, to keep her warm. Yes, boy, and the sun came through the clouds, and the foal was born, and a rainbow danced across the sky. It was a good sign, boy, and I named that little wet foal Rainbow. You have trained her well, boy. Oh, Rainbow is a smart horse, grandfather. Like you, she is good at remembering. Rainbow is my eyes, grandfather. He takes me to the sheep wherever they are, and when I am ready, she finds the way home. No one thought you could teach her to race, boy. Oh, but I did, grandfather. Every day, day after day, we followed you along the trail, and you let me hold the reins. You traced the trails in your mind, boy, both you and Rainbow. Yes, grandfather, we learned the trails by heart, up South Mountain to Granite Rock, down the steep shortcut to Meadow of Blue Flowers, then straight across the Red Flats to the Lightning Split Tree, then down the switchbacks to the Canyon Trail, and on around to the finish line. I learned from Rainbow when to turn, when to pull her by the neck, and by counting her gallops. And now tell me again about the race, please, grandfather. It was a tribal day, boy. You and the other boys were at the starting line, but you pulled back. I was afraid, grandfather, until you called me. Tell me one more time what you said. I said, don't be afraid, boy. Trust your darkness and go like the wind. And I leaned forward on Rainbow's neck and I grabbed her mane tight and I said, go, Rainbow, go. And I could feel the pushing and crowding and galloping thunder all around me. Rainbow and I went twisting and turning and galloping, 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 and we counted the gallops, remembering the way. And what did the people say, grandfather? They said, who is that boy riding bareback, racing the horse with all of his heart? And you said, that is boy, Strength of Blue Horses, and he and his horse are together like one. Yes, boy. That is what I said. There's the boy racing on Rainbow bareback. But I didn't win, Grandfather. No, but you rode like the wind. The wind is my friend, Grandfather. It throws back my hair and it laughs at my face. You see the wind better than I, boy. I finished the race, hot and dusty and sweat dripping from my face. And you were smiling, boy. I wasn't afraid, Grandfather. I could see through the dark every turn of the race. Rainbow and I knew the way. You were crossing dark mountains, boy. Tell me again what you told me then. I like to hear it over and over. I said, boy, strength of blue horses, you have raced darkness and won. You can see with your heart, feel a part of all that surrounds you, and your courage lights the way. And what did the grandmother say? You tell me, boy. I know you remember. Yes, I remember, Grandfather. They said, this boy walks in beauty. His dreams are more beautiful than rainbows or sunsets. And now, boy, now that the story has been told again, I will tie another knot in the counting rope. And when the rope is filled with knots, you will know the story by heart, and you can tell it yourself. So that I will grow stronger, Grandfather? Yes, stronger. Strong enough to cross your own dark mountains. I always feel strong when you are with me, Grandfather. But I will not always be with you, boy. No, Grandfather, don't leave me. What would I ever do without you? You will never be alone, boy. My love and the strength of the blue horses will always surround you. What a beautiful story. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.